Hello to our next podcast episode. Shara is joining me here again today. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. And we're going to talk about clinical yoga. What made you think about developing clinical yoga, Shara?
Right?
Go
There's
on.
too many variations out there.
Can I just stop you there, right? This is a genuine thing. I didn't know this is the reason why. So this is lush, the fact that this has happened here, but lovely segue. Go on. So you developed clinical yoga because?
Because it's hard to prescribe where people go for yoga. It is so beneficial for your body. But you can, like, if I go to a yoga teacher and I'm like, yes, this person knows her anatomy, knows her biomechanics, she corrects people's form, yeah, I'm going to send people there. But if it's somebody that's at the front of the class, she or he is doing the poses, not even looking around, do I want my client with lower back pain to go there? Yeah, if they're very aware of their body and they've done yoga before and you can give them some adaptations, sure. But if they're unfamiliar to it, it's not who I'm going to send. So this is why I developed the clinical yoga on the premise that people in the healthcare world would take it up and already have the anatomy and the biomechanics side of their knowledge. So that wouldn't have to be done. And then bringing in a system where you create yoga poses, yoga sequences that are specific to the well-being of your clients.
And so you've seen this way of like melding your physiotherapy world, which is kind of steeped in Western physiology and philosophy, how the body works. And you kind of said, well, that doesn't kind of work because I don't like this idea of that just do bicep curls 10 times 10 or whatever. But you also can see the limit. And so then you find yoga, which kind of doesn't do that and ticks a lot of the other boxes that the standard physio world does, but also recognizing that there's some drawbacks to this as well.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to bring the two together.
Yeah.
Where would, say, a physio or an osteopath or a sports rehab therapist, where would they kind of think about using clinical yoga?
Almost with every client, if that's what is calls to you to do. So you can literally do it with anyone that has ankles instability to shoulder impingements, that you just want buy-in so that they get their exercises. It's particularly helpful if there's any mental health asides. So stress, lack of sleep, anxiety. So it really helps from the mental health field. I think in Western medicine, we're trying, right? We're really trying to get that whole holistic health thing going. We just keep missing the mark.
Yeah.
It's like we're just not quite getting there. And I think it's just such a simple, easy way to do it. So my intention when I do a class or I treat somebody using clinical yoga, I'm not really addressing mental health stuff. It's just an amazing positive adjunct side effect to this type of exercise. So it's not like I'm going out of my scope of practice, but I'm definitely treating the whole model without trying. So, and then there's the assessment part of it. There's watching, creating the poses, very specific, very goal motivated. And then while you're doing it, there's that flexibility of like, okay, we're not quite achieving what we need to do. This is a little bit hard. Let's get some blocks. Let's get a band. Let's whatever it is. Okay, this is a bit too easy for you. How do we make this a little bit harder?
Yeah.
So there's that flexibility that you can take a pose and be like, okay, after last time, you've actually improved massively. Do that, make it a bit harder, make it a bit more complicated. They walk away feeling their body has been challenged, but not in a way that's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
They're going to take a few things away that they're going to do at home. And I have experienced the buy-in.
Yeah, because that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
People are more likely to buy into it and
Yeah.
do their stuff just because it's fun and it's more
fun, yeah.
it's more that mind-body connection, I guess. So people feel better as a result of doing it.
It's just, I mean, the amount of times that I have been told, even in the courses that we've just been given, you know, like the students will be like, wow, I've never experienced my body like that. Because you're literally just using words and cueing and biomechanics to put somebody in their body, to feel their ankle where it's supposed to do. And it's just a different skill, but we know half of it.
What I think I love about this idea, though, is that we know that one of the biggest problems in exercise prescription, right, which is kind of like a fundamental of contemporary medicine, right, no matter what your discipline is, contemporary kind of thought process is that we should be doing movement of some kind, right? Something that challenges the body, right? But we know that exercise prescription is really poorly done because people just get bored of it, or that life takes over, or they just don't adhere to it because you don't see reactions straight away. You don't see the benefits immediately. And I guess there's all sorts of things you could go on to in terms of how the world's changed in terms of attention span and things. But maybe that is one of the benefits, right, of yoga, is that actually, even if your shoulder pain hasn't, or your shoulder problem isn't better then and there, you feel better in yourself right after 100%. Doing it. And effectively, that's how your body works, right? Your body gives you feelings to try and drive a behavior. So if it feels better, it says, well, naturally you'll say, well, let's have more of that. Because you feel better in yourself, you're more likely to want to do that again because you're like, I want to replicate that feeling again. Yep. It's a bit like chocolate, right? The reason I want more chocolate is because I like it when I feel good when I have the chocolate, right? Just maybe a slightly healthier version of chocolate. Just a
little bit healthier, yeah.
So then what you're saying is then to try and strip back, it's not kind of saying that all of the theory and philosophy behind these different yoga areas we should ignore, but it's trying to make it more accessible.
Absolutely. And what I find is that once, and including men, like actually men have my better buy-in than women do. And I think it's because it's one-on-one in a clinic. So they experience it and like, oh, I'm doing yoga. This is cool. Or I've never done yoga and I'm too scared to go to a class because isn't it for girls, right?
Yeah.
I get better buy-in from them because they can really feel the stretching and the strengthening and all the rest of it. But then what lands up happening is that once they become comfortable with it, they'll start exploring other classes and going to traditional yoga. And I'm a big believer in traditional yoga, like from beginning to end, the philosophies, the sutras. You can't not respect thousands and thousands of years of something that still exists today. But I think to make it more accessible to the average person, and to make exercises more accessible to the average person, this is why I created this link.
Yeah. Typically, what would you say a client of yours would report? I'd say they were seeing you and say they were seeing another healthcare professional, right? Who has diagnosed the same thing. So it's the same problem, OA knee, right? Whatever. And they have prescribed more of the traditional movement-based therapies. Obviously, they'll be doing acupuncture, dry needle, and OBS, right? And they've done that, and then you've kind of gone down more the yoga type route. What would you expect the differences between those two to be?
Well, I have an example from just a couple of months. So I have a woman who came in with frozen shoulder, no trauma, no specific onset, just a little bit sore, a little bit whatever. Went to a chiropractor, had all the manual treatments, the really good practitioner, had some results from it, but nothing major, wanted to really get back to yoga, right? Obviously couldn't because couldn't move her shoulder. So we did some yoga with adaptations for the frozen shoulder. By the next week, she had more range of movements and she was coming back for more and doing her exercises at home that were yoga-based. And because of that, she was having more success. And because she was able to move her body, had better buy-in. And she's like, this is amazing. This is like physio, but fun. I mean, I don't know how many clients go, hey, I love my physio, she's fun. Yeah. But that's it, it's physio, but fun. So I don't not do, in this particular instance, it's not like I don't do any manual techniques on her. We couldn't achieve one particular pose. I'm like, okay, just hang on a sec. Let's pop a couple of dry needles in, did a little bit of infraspinatus, did the movement. She had a little bit more range of movement, carried on with the rest of the sequence.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're taking away the physiotherapy skills.
Yeah.
You're just putting them in the yoga, which is fun.
So why do you think then, putting you on the spot, why do you think she got better in that scenario? Because in effect, you're doing both the same thing. You're both trying to improve movement. You're both trying to get mechanically the joint to do what it should do.
Yeah.
Why do you think your approach, and it's not saying that somebody else's approach is wrong, by the way,
exactly.
Right? This is just saying, like, on this one case scenario, why do you think that might have led to a benefit?
Well, one, she had fun. So from a mental perspective, she felt better. And as soon as you feel better, everything feels better. We know that. And secondly, she was excited to do her exercises at home. Therefore, she was more consistent with the exercises. she didn't do the home exercises that he gave her.
Yeah.
She did the yoga.
Yeah.
And therefore, when she came back and saw me, she had more range of movement.
Yeah. So the key buy-in, the key bit is the buy-in almost, isn't it? Saying like, if we could have two parallel universes and she absolutely adored a standard home exercise plan, right? She probably would have had the same outcome, you think?
Yeah.
And it's just more the fact that there was no real drive to go and do them because it was like, yeah, okay. And I also wonder that you said that this is somebody who was already liked yoga.
Yeah.
So it kind of is linked to her end goal anyway.
Her existing. But it was a pretty severe case of frozen shoulder.
Right.
So hence why it's so contrast in terms of one therapy versus the other.
Yeah.
And then I have a tennis player, or he's now a tennis coach, who had lower back pain, went to physios, dipping in and out constantly. I don't think he's seen a physio for 2 years since starting yoga.
Wow.
So, and he was going to physios every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And now he just does yoga at home. He'll go to a couple of classes, maybe come to my class every now and again, but we're not seeing him one-on-one.
Yeah. What about then, if I'm going to play devil's advocate,
yeah, do
right?
it.
What about the ones who don't see benefit and get better?
That's always the case, right? Like it doesn't matter what technique you do. You can do mobilizations on somebody's shoulder and not get more range of movement. So then you try something else. But it's just good to have all the tools in the toolbox that you can offer.
Sure.
All the things. I've just had, and maybe it's because of my passion, that the people that come to me are drawn to that too. But I've also had unlikely suspects come in that I'll be like, oh, I'm going to show you like 3 yoga poses. Don't freak out. But they're going to help you with so like I have a guy, he's Scottish, very raw, doing triathlons. I mean, I never thought he was going to buy into the yoga classes, and gave him 3 or 4 exercises, barely needs me anymore. So, it's great for him.
Yeah.
And he's still doing those classes.
Yeah.
Those 3, 4 exercises before every session. And he just limits his injuries.
I think it's always an important point to make, right, is that whenever you get somebody who's like a specialist in an area or somewhere that they've got a real keen interest, I think there are some people out there who kind of like hammer that down people's throats and say that you have to, everyone should be doing this because this is amazing and 110% of your patients will get better because it's this good. And then we'll go on to say the reason that you're not getting the benefits or the results that I see is because you're not doing it right. I have heard that throughout my whole teaching career as a reason why they like what I teach, because I don't go down that road. I say, do you know what? There's going to be some people who have fantastic results with this, and this is why I'm here. But there are also going to be people who have got no benefit to this whatsoever. And I really try to put that up front because it's saying like, this is not like the cure-all for everything. I'm not some like, for me, acupuncture nut. And it's going to be, you should do it for everybody and everything. It's just, it's really helpful and you want it because there'll be some people who your other stuff won't work for and this will work for. Yeah. Which is kind of what you see with the yoga, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if we think that we can solve everything with one thing, you're naive.
Nah.
Right? You've got to have all the tools. I haven't done the test, but if you got somebody that was very much into going to gym and those are the exercises you gave them, then they felt really good afterwards and they had like a little pause at the end of it to kind of help the mind to probably the same effect as doing yoga, but it's not very practical. Like I don't have a gym in my clinic, but I have a mat.
Yeah.
So, it could be the same effect, but I have a yoga mat. I don't have a gym.
Yeah, yeah. I guess how would somebody know? Let's say they were working alongside you, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, I don't do clinical yoga. I don't do any yoga. I don't really know about like, how would they know to go, do you know what? I think you might be better off going to see Shara or somebody who does the clinical yoga prescription.
I tend to get referred the clients that are a little bit more complicated, where it's not so straightforward. You don't really know why they're not getting better.
Okay.
And I'm kind of the theory that sometimes we don't really need to know why. Sometimes it's just a body-mind connection. It's a whatever. And you just work with what you've got and then go from there. So that tends to be my referral base from other physiotherapists, chiropractors. From a doctor's perspective, if they're going to, or just another clinician's perspective, why clinical yoga? one, they're not getting the buy-in from your prescriptive exercises, and you know that that's what's going to help them, right?
Okay, so because what you're describing here is a scenario where I've already been treating somebody for X amount of weeks or whatever, and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's like almost like my plan B is to go to clinical yoga.
Yeah.
So I get that. So I can kind of see the scenario, and that could be with anything, right? Because that would be it could work the other way around. You could do yoga in your practice, they're not getting anywhere. Well, plan B would be go and see so-and-so who could do an injection or is really good at whatever, right? But what about plan A? What about in a scenario where, let's say I'm a new grad physio, right? And I'm kind of like got my diagnosis. I think I know what's going on. I've ruled out all my red flags and stuff. What kind of things would make us think, if they said this, this, and this, or they were presenting this way or that way, I feel that they would be better off to go down more of a yoga path immediately?
So if the client is a busy person, like they want to achieve a lot of things in a very short space of time, because in one pose, you're getting the strengthening, the stretching, the proprioception, the mind-body connection. So anybody who's busy wants efficiency, right? So that person. The person that is not interested in doing 6 bicep curls, somebody that's already doing yoga but needs to be a little bit more honed in as to how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Hypermobile individuals benefit massively from yoga, which sounds contradictory because it's all about flexibility, but it's really not if you teach it from a clinical perspective. Just the person that you think, you need more yoga, but you don't want to send them to the average yoga class.
Yeah.
So you send them to clinical yoga.
So the big one, which seems the obvious one to me, is like you're doing your assessment and what do you like to do? I do yoga, right? Well, that feels like the easiest obvious thing. Mm-hmm. Like yoga, you probably enjoy yoga, therefore it makes sense that we're going to do your exercise prescription with like a yoga frame to it because that's going to be, you're pushing against an open door.
Exactly.
The other bit that you're saying is kind of like, is the busy person. So let's go, it's the affogato of the therapy world, right? So you're getting for those years that are uninitiated, the affogato, right?
One of the best desserts.
Is your vanilla ice cream, your shot of espresso. And in my head, a true affogato, it also includes a shot of Disaronno or Amaretto.
Italians can comment below.
Right, but in a way you're getting the sweet dessert, right? You're getting that taste of vanilla. You're getting the coffee, which is like
bitter
in the mind, and then you're also getting your amaretto, which is like I'm going to feel nice and chill because I've had some alcohol, right? So you're kind of saying like those persons who are like, I've got this going, I've got that going, I've got that going, I've got dang, bang, 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 getting them to do a yoga type stuff. We're doing this because it does all of them? It's the affogato effect?
More bang for your buck, right? More bang for your time. And you are, like when we do rehab, we have to stretch, we have to strengthen, we have to do proprioception.
Yeah.
You're literally doing it all in one pose.
Yeah. And who doesn't love that, right? Yeah. Optimization.
Oh, absolutely.
Lush. Get in.
Suits my personality.
Get in. So we said that. So we said the busy person, we said they got the yoga. What was the other thing we said?
Oh, the hypermobile.
Hypermobile. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as a new grad or somebody who is just trying to figure out whether this person is going to be suitable to like a yoga type rehab versus a non-yoga type rehab, those are the 3 things you'd kind of say, have that as plan A in those scenarios. You may go plan A, because like I would do with acupuncture, I probably do plan A as a needling technique more so than other people, just because that's the thing I'm attracted to, right? And that kind of seems to work well for me. But I think is like to anybody else, that might not everything I have as plan A is plan A, but there's kind of like some fundamental specifics, tendinopathies, for example, I think. Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful. At the very least, if you're practicing yoga, to maybe give you some inspiration to start thinking about you using yoga as your day-to-day practice. Obviously, we'd love you to join one of our courses, but really the main thrust of this is to try and give you guys an idea that there's probably other stuff that you're doing in your day-to-day lives that you maybe are not connecting to your clinical practice. And if that's yoga, there's loads of stuff you can do with it. All right. If you've enjoyed the podcast episode, as always, say the same things. Like, comment, share. I appreciate this is very specific to it, and we kind of talk a little bit about a course, but there's a load of little gems in there. If you've enjoyed it, if you've liked it, if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, if you've got any comments at all, or you just think this is worth sharing with people that you know, please like, comment, and share. It makes a monster difference. See you soon.